Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will be talking about common mistakes I made as a young salary earner. We are inspired today by a local article, as you can see right here. The article was written by Anika Stradom of PSG Wealth and posted on MoneyWeb, which is a popular South African finance website. In it, she discusses common investment pitfalls for young professionals and how to avoid them. And it got me thinking. As a young professional myself, there were specific pitfalls, according to the article, that I successfully avoided and those that I didn't. And I would like to share that with you today. Okay, so starting with the pitfalls that I avoided. I never procrastinated on starting my investments, the entire investment journey. That was something that I was excited to do. I was always that kid that was curious. So as soon as I could, I did it, and I'm thankful for this. As a young teenager, I remember that I would offer up myself to help around the house in order to earn some kind of pocket money. I would save it up in a box somewhere until I was old enough to go to the bank with my mom and open up a bank account where I could now save directly into this account. When I was older, a much older teenager that is, I would work weekend jobs at a local printing shop near me and would save all my income into this account, the one that my mom helped me open up. I did this for a bit, and then naturally I started to wonder what was next. I had saved and saved, but what was next? That's when investing came along, and I did some research and I discovered unit trusts. I can make a separate video about what unit trusts entail, just let me know. They were very popular at the time, unit trusts, and to me, they were kind of like more affordable ways that a everyday investor could invest simply. So I took the leap, and my very first unit trust I invested in, I believe, was the Allen Gray Balanced Fund with the help of my dad, and the PSG Balanced Fund or the PSG Flexible Fund. I'm not too sure the specific one. I was about 17 or 18 years old at the time. I did cash out on these investments though before turning 29, but leaving it for so many years brought relatively great returns to me. And that was because of time and compound interest. All I had to do was invest consistently into those unit trusts every month and let them alone. That was it. Next up was keeping excess cash. I avoided this. Admittedly, this was unintentional. When I had had enough of savings and I wondered what to do next, investing came naturally. I was so focused on investing that most of my money was going towards it every single month by the time that I was a full blown 9 to 5 professional. Those investments were in property and stocks, leaving little room for savings, but I always made sure I had some cash saved up somewhere in case of emergencies. I was a big property enthusiast since I was a teenager. I've always been this way and was able to turn that dream into a reality by the age of 22, buying my first property back in 2019. However, anyone that knows property will tell you that it is a pricey venture, so a lot of my investable cash went towards that for some time. Later on in my 20s, I decided to completely switch gears and change focus. I decided it made more sense to invest in stock markets and diversify beyond South Africa and the property asset class. I have since focused my investable income on such things like the stock market ever since then. So looking back, I can see how I avoided keeping excess cash, but instead, my strategy has always been favoring growth assets that bring great returns in the long term. Now, of course, I would love to be the young professional that always got it right, but I can't simply by the virtue of being young and I was still learning. I still am. So here are common pitfalls according to the article that got me. So, number one was I pursued quick gains via a food co op opportunity that presented itself back in 2020. I was 24 years at the time. The opportunity presented was a chance for investors to pool their money together in exchange for part ownership of a food co op slash store located in the same neighborhood that I was living in. The classic red flags were there. Move quickly or you'll miss it. The more you put in is the more you get out. The returns that were being promised was huge percentage wise. Looking back on it, I can see how this was biblical greed at its finest. I succumbed to the pressure eventually, and I quickly invested a total of 25,000 Rand, which was a lot of money, at least to me. And everything, I remember the entire thing just went under. The store never really took off. As the months went by and there wasn't really any communication and it was getting harder and harder to reach the people who were behind the idea, I made peace with things. The fact that I was never going to get my money back. The lessons learned, looking back, is that if it's too good to be true, it is. Take time to sit and review investment opportunities and have all your queries and questions met before you decide to go in. You need to understand the basic structure, i.e., the ins and outs of what you're investing. If you can't do that, don't move forward with the investment. It is as simple as that. Next was prioritizing spending over saving, as the article says. There was a period in my mid 20s that I'm not so proud of where I pursued a lot of spending. Not quite exactly over saving, but I spent without restraint. I could have saved more, but I didn't. I saved and invested the exact amount I had planned for when I budgeted every month, and I blew the rest without a conscience. When you're wanting to build wealth, this is a very bad attitude to have. Every cent counts towards that journey. There were months where I wanted to hit a higher mark in my savings and investments account, but I couldn't. The reason being for this lifestyle enhancements, as the article put it. These lifestyle enhancements, it had me in a chokehold. I loved presenting in a certain way. So every month or every other month, it was new clothing, items, jewelry, shoes, makeup, and skincare. Mind you, clothes from Mr. Price or Pick and Pay clothing, it wasn't enough for me anymore. I wanted Zara, H&M, poetry. Now to some, that might not be luxury, but it was a lot to me at the time. Lovisa, for example, was no longer the cut when it came to jewelry. I wanted Daniel Wellington, Fossil, easily accessible domestic skincare and makeup brands that were found in Discount, for example, weren't it anymore for me. I wanted international things like Fenty, MAC, Huda Beauty. It's thinking back to it now, it doesn't make any sense. All these fancy name tags started adding up and eroding the financial structure that I had worked so hard to set up. I found with time that I started compromising on certain standards I swore by, and my financial health started to suffer. Lifestyle creep had struck. Now that I'm about to turn 30, I realized this mistake and I shifted accordingly. I now avoid the situations or thoughts that could trigger me. I like to put more thought now into purchases before I actually go ahead and buy them. And that is all my financial confessions for this video. I hope you enjoyed. What do you think? Have you read the article? If not, please have a read. I found it very educational. Let me know about your common pitfalls that got you and those that you avoided successfully when you were a professional in general. I would love to know. You can let me know in the comment section below. The link as well for the article will be in the description box. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.